Welcome back to New Rockstars. WandaVision left the MCU with more people casting spells than wearing high-tech suits of armor, like an AV club party being overtaken by LARPers, my kind of party. But we all know LARPers, they inevitably turn on each other. So are we looking at a war of witchcraft in the MCU? Well, I'm Erik Voss. This is Rogue Theory. With me today is an amazing panel, starting with a returning guest, host and producer at Kinda Funny Vids, Blessing Adeoye. Hey, Blessing.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you back. I think I wasn't here the last time you were on Rogue Theory, so I'm glad we get to do this now. We got Matt Acevedo. Welcome back.
What's up, everybody? Good to be back, man.
Yeah, good to have you. And New Rockstar's own off-screen producer, Brandon Barrick. I almost said Barrick. I'm sorry. I know who you are.
You know who I am. I'm happy to be back on screen for one more round of Rogue Theory.
And then you're done. You're done.
And then
you're
I'm
hanging
done.
up
Maybe.
the jersey after this.
Maybe it's time to retire.
Maybe, I mean, yeah, you just do one season, you're out. I get it. All right, it's the finale of WandaVision this past weekend, and a lot happened in it. But among the many details were when Agatha said that the Scarlet Witch has the powers that now surpass the Sorcerer Supreme. In a way, it felt like she was laying down the gauntlet for Doctor Strange. If he was eavesdropping on this call to be like, whoa, what? Hold on, what? Excuse me? And now Agatha's still alive, and the MCU just has more and more sorcerers, witches, and wizards. We have Wanda, and we have Agatha added to a roster of Doctor Strange and Mordo and Wong, whoever else survived that endgame final battle. I believe the CEO of Fortnite was one of those wizards doing a cameo, so he's a wizard in the MCU. And of course, Jimmy Woo with his masterful sleight of hand and that magic smile of his. That guy's a wizard in other ways. And witches and wizards are being debated by the Falcon and Winter Soldier, even in the latest teaser, if you caught that. And we also know that Mr. Dell in Spider-Man Far From Home was terrified of witches. So magic is everywhere. And so my question for all of us to kind of go rogue on and try to figure out together, are we looking at a sorcerer battle coming perhaps in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? What do we think the allegiances, the rivalries, what's the battle line going to be in the world of wizards in the MCU?
Oh, man. I think, honestly, on a grand scale, for a while I was thinking like the next Thanos was going to be like Kang or something, but I think the next like big bad of the next phase is going to be, some demon or something like that, like Mephisto. I don't think we're gonna get Mephisto next movie. I don't think we're gonna get that, but I think like especially with the next, I honestly don't, but I think in the next, like even in Spider-Man and stuff like that, we're gonna be dealing with some weird stuff. I think it's gonna be building towards Mephisto. I don't think we're gonna get him in Multiverse of Madness, but I think the alliances that we could see in Multiverse of Madness is, I think Wanda is messing with some magic that she doesn't really understand. And I kind of think that that's going to lead to, I forgot the name of, I don't know how to pronounce this name. I always say like Chthon or
No one my friend.
I've never known. I've never known.
Be pronounced.
Yeah.
But he is a demon that is in the comics has been known to like to use Wanda as a way to like kind of puppeteer her, let her get stronger, let her to use like that magic. So I think she's gonna get a little bit manipulated. So she might be on her own side in this next movie with Doctor Strange trying to intervene. But then Mordo's gonna be the third force, which will cause Doctor Strange will in turn help Wanda. They'll figure that shit out and then fight Mordo. I think Mordo's gonna be the big bad in the next movie.
He's definitely gonna be a threat. I mean, that guy, when he said too many sorcerers, it was like forever ago. It's one of those post-credit scenes where it's like, oh right, that exists. Adam Warlock is still coming. But like with Mordo coming back, with Chiwetel Ejiofor, I believe is confirmed for Multiverse of Madness, that means that like whatever his character's trajectory was is gonna be important to this plot. And that guy hates other sorcerers. He's
does.
like, the club's too big.
He hates sorcerers who are good at basketball. That's why he took out my boy Pangborn.
Yeah, Pangborn.
Pangborn had great style on the court. That wasn't magic. That was just natural talent. Can't argue with that.
Man, they did Pangborn so dirty, man.
So dirty.
I hate to see it. Mordo is a fun one to bring up because I almost forgot that Mordo was a thing because we haven't seen him since Doctor Strange. It almost reminds me of the tease that we got back in the Incredible Hulk, where we got that tease for the villain that would have came through in the next movie, and we just never saw them again.
Yeah.
I think there's like the smallest chance that could happen with Mordo, but at the same time, I think by the time we got to Doctor Strange, Marvel had kind of figured all that stuff out. And so I wouldn't be surprised if in the next movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we got a range of different allegiances in terms of Doctor Strange maybe helping out Wanda with her magic. It very much seems like she's on the path to figuring out what the Scarlet Witch means for her, and how to actually control her magic and use it in ways that she wants to, as opposed to creating a hex out of nowhere. And so I think we'll see some of that. I think we'll see some of. I wonder where on the spectrum we're going to see Mordo and maybe Agatha land, because both of them are obviously leading towards the more evil side of things. But I wonder if we see Agatha being more in the middle, because when you see Agatha in WandaVision, right, like she's introduced as this evil-ish witch that is kind of being handed this terrible hand because she's being betrayed by her people and all this different stuff. I wonder if she ends up coming back around and having that realization that, hey, with great power comes great responsibility, and she's working to stop the Scarlet Witch from actually destroying the world, as opposed to her just being against Wanda for the sake of being against Wanda. But who knows? I could also see a future where maybe her and Mordo end up joining forces, and they're like, hey, we're going to use magic in order to f stuff up and in order to bring our own chaos to the world. I think there's a lot of opportunity for that.
Yeah, Blessing, you bring up a good point about this idea of protecting people from going too far with magic. It seems like the game that Wizards have played over the centuries was like, don't let any one of us go too far. And that was the fear with Doctor Strange reading the Book of Cagliostro and tapping into the Dark Dimension, what Caecilius was doing. That was the fear that Agatha's Coven had about her, is that apparently she was reading this Darkhold and just surpassing the boundary. And because they realized if you do that, if you go too far, you unleash something. And I think that was Agatha's fear of Wanda. So maybe the game is going to be like a war of attrition with these wizards, of like, no one burned the ground around them too much, because we have a reality, a nexus that we have to try to maintain, because otherwise we could just destroy everything.
And I just love that we're going to flesh out more of Mordo too, because like he reminds me of like Sinestro, because I love, I don't know, I'm combining universes here, but I mean, it's the same kind of idea where it's like the ways weren't working and he sees the flaws, and so he tries to take matters into his own hand. Yada yada. But I like the idea of like he's like Wanda, like that is a big target, man. That is a big freaking target. So I'm just really excited to see them flesh out Mordo a bit more, to take control of all of that kind of magic, and in turn get corrupt even more. And what's gonna happen to him? I think he's gonna be like a bit bigger too than like just like someone's trying to prevent, like, to take the magic. He's gonna like really turn into something else, be a manifestation of like some demon I don't know, or something like that.
I do also like the idea of this being maybe a game of 3-on-3 basketball, where you have because I think a little bit of, okay, who's gonna be the big villain for either phase 5 or phase 4, whatever phase we're in right now, right? Who's gonna be the villain of this next saga? Also, who's gonna be the villain of Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, right? And I think naturally we go to Agatha or we go to Mordo because they've been set up, but I could see it being the case where we finally get Mephisto, and Mephisto is then bringing on Agatha and bringing on Mordo as his disciples or whatever, right? His followers. And it is this, hey, we got this team of 3 versus Doctor Strange finding Wanda, and maybe also having I always forget his name, the other wizard that's part of Doctor Strange's team, the guy that we all love.
Wong.
Yeah. Wong, Strange, and Wanda kind of being the other 3, and they're going back and forth with that.
Yeah, and you know what? This idea of who must be the villain, and I'm always on the Mephisto train. I'm obsessed, obviously, with that whole idea. I want this guy to show up. But like, Jack Schaefer did this interview talking about WandaVision that came out on Deadline the day we're recording this, and she talked about this idea of like, we didn't want a villain, we wanted grief to be the villain, like Wanda's own grief, and then we had this kind of bonus baddie of Agatha Harkness. But like that idea of like, people can have civilized disagreements and both sides have valid points of view without either one being a total villain. It's kind of that place where Civil War was in that final act, where it was just Steve versus Tony, and you kind of are rooting for both to stop fighting. And I think the Wizards can have that kind of civilized disagreement too. I like this idea of Multiverse of Madness, the relationship between Strange and Wanda. Wanda doesn't necessarily have to be a villain. She could just be like a patient who needs healing, and then Doctor Strange is the ultimate healer. He understands her dilemma and can help her work through this emotional grief that she's going through. And then other wizards are trying to like chip away at that with their own disagreements.
I mean, they fought alongside each other, so there is a little bit of history with them, even though they didn't really get much screen time. I think were they both at the funeral? Were they both at Stark's? I can't remember.
Yeah, they
if
were there.
So they know each other, they know of each other. So I love that theory, Eric, of like Doctor Strange wanting to heal Wanda, because dude, Wanda's been through so much. I want this girl to like be happy, man. Like she has not had a break,
Yeah, Wanda is newly discovering so much of this too. Like Agatha, I think brought so much to her doorstep in terms of, hey, yeah, this is wizardry. This is these are runes, right? This is X, Y, and Z, and Wanda's still learning so much. And I do like the idea that as the Scarlet Witch, she is one of the most powerful magical beings in the world, which means that it could be this fun duality of her being brute force, her being uncontrolled, powerful magic, and then Doctor Strange being the person that comes through and tries to aim that and tries to teach her and tries to actually gain control of that. I think that could make for a fun dynamic between those two characters, because that makes sense.
I think WandaVision really set up some interesting ideas about magic in the MCU, especially this new idea that the Scarlet Witch is some sort of prophecy that magic wielders have been worried about for a long time. And I know, we love Wanda as a hero, but I'm interested to see Wanda go a little darker, go back to her roots of being a villain. And now that she has all this power, they made a good point of saying that she's stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. I think she's going to be the ultimate big bad. People like Mordo and Agatha, they're villains, but they're villains with a heart of gold. They want to do the right thing. Like Agatha showed up because she's just doing her magic thing, and all of a sudden it's going crazy in New Jersey. And she's like, I got to stop this. Like she was trying kind of to do the right thing, maybe had the wrong means of doing it. Maybe was a little nasty with her stuff, but she's old school. She's from the 1600s. She doesn't know how to like communicate with the youth today. So I think in Multiverse of Madness, we might be seeing Mordo and Agatha and Strange teaming up, not to kill Wanda. I don't want Wanda dead, but bring her back to the good side.
Yeah.
I think, magic is like the new Infinity Stones, right? When Thor was saying, you messed around with the Tesseract, and now all the other realms say you're open for business. I think it's going to be that way with magic now, and all these other magic wielders are going to show up.
Funny enough, I feel like magic is almost the new science now in the MCU, where over the years
spoken like a true Asgardian.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like we've gotten hints of
one and the same,
we've gotten hints of like gods and all this stuff, right, in the MCU, right? And I think this is the most we've gotten actual dedication to straight up magic, and in the way that Doctor Strange kind of feels like the Tony Stark of the magic side of things. I can see Wanda being the Peter, right, and then like whoever else being the Bruce Banner. Like we had so many of those smart people early on in Phase 1 and ongoing that in the first saga, who have been so focused on the tech and science side of things that now it feels like we're starting from the ground up with this new idea and this new stuff, and we're going to see people take these different roles around the magic side of things.
I think too, like on those lines is like getting more into like the different realms of like there's of like dealing with like Yggdrasil and stuff like that, and like will we see all these magic users as well? Will there be like a court of magic users from the different like realms? That would be really, really cool.
Would you say maybe a Magic the Gathering?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Sorry, that was terrible.
I thought it was appropriate.
No.
Well done. No, you aren't allowed to retire yet. I don't accept your resignation. No, I want to ask you guys, if we are building up to like a community of magic practitioners, am I wrong in saying that like Doctor Doom is kind of a fusion of someone who uses science and magic? Like he kind of his science is so advanced it kind of becomes magic, at least the way I remember it being depicted in the comics. Do we think that like if maybe Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is Strange working together with these or fighting alongside these other sorcerers alongside Wanda, maybe some other kind of demonic entity like Nightmare or Mephisto in there, could Doom show up in a third Doctor Strange movie beyond that?
I would love it if Victor Von Doom teamed up with Justin Hammer and started making like magical weapons. Stark goes out of business. Stark Industries is done. Like no one wants repulsor technology anymore. No one wants his nanotech. They want magical Justin Hammer missiles. And that's how we get both Hammer back and we get Victor Von Doom showing up as Doctor Doom. I would love that.
Justin Hammer, man. That is I did not think I'd hear that name. Wow.
I miss my boy Sam Rockwell. I want him back in the MCU.
He was great. He was so fun.
So I think we have a good sense of the lay of the land for sure. You guys opened up a lot of possibilities here, and I really love all the theories that came out of this. Well done. You guys are as nerdy about these wizard arguments as I am. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Well, this is Rogue Theory still. I'm still going to award points because everything has to have a score. and
course,
that's just
of
how my
course.
brain works. So, Brandon, for that sweet, sweet Magic the Gathering button there, you get one golden sparkle.
That's
buck.
what I get it for? I'll take it. Under duress.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like your legacy Oscar win. That's your departed Best Picture Oscar,
It's
right?
beautiful.
Or Best
You
Director
can't
Oscar.
stop now, Brandon. You got to ride that wave, man. Think
Yeah.
of
Ride the
spin-offs, merchandise for your consideration.
Matt, I'm going to give you a golden sparkle buck for this Court of Magic users idea. I love this idea of like a big council of magicians in the MCU.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Blessing for this parallel. I hadn't thought of this before, but I love this idea of Doctor Strange being kind of the Tony Stark figure, Wanda being the Peter Parker figure, and magic being kind of the new form of like Stark tech. I'm gonna give you 2 points for that. I thought that was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I
Well
appreciate
done.
it. I'm
well
honored.
done.
Well done, but well done to
Yeah.
all of you. What a robust, magical conversation we just had. Well, we're gonna speculate about the future of our favorite nosy neighbor, Agatha, in just a moment. But first, we want to give some thank you to the folks who helped us make Rogue Theory this week, starting with our friends at Blue Chew. So thank you to Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode. Blue Chew has a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form that is at the fraction of the cost. So Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no doctor's office or pharmacy trips. It ships directly to your door in a discreet package. You sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you receive your prescription within days. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength. And if you hate swallowing pills, good news. Blue Chew is, well, it's in the name. It's chewable, So there you go. You can just, your favorite vitamins you had as a kid. Now you get your favorite vitamin as a grown-up. So if you could benefit from some extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we've got a special deal for our audience. Try Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code of ROGUE at checkout. You just pay the $5 of shipping. So that's bluechew.com, promo code ROGUE to receive your first month for free. And again, we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode. We also want to thank our friends at Stereo. So New Rockstars is excited to partner with the Stereo app on weekly live shows. Download the Stereo app for free right now at stereo.com/newrockstars. This week, our Stereo show schedule is a little different. So make sure that you are following the New Rockstars account to see our show schedule and get the notification when we go live. But there's going to be a lot to talk about with the Falcon the Winter Soldier series. We're going to be taking your questions. We're going to hear your theories and predictions, and maybe even getting some of your best Zemo impressions. Who knows? It's live. It's going to be nuts. Off-screen producer Zach will probably make a solid gold lock prediction that will definitely not come true. You got to tune in to find out. MT and I are going to be doing our Falcon Winter Soldier after show on Inside Marvel. It's just going to be like what we did with WandaVision, with Mandalorian. We love doing these after shows and then breakdowns the next day. And you can listen to our after show live on Stereo the next morning earlier before it comes out on YouTube. So that's great. Also, you can go back and hear all of our previous episodes of any of our shows on the Stereo app. A lot of weird stuff has been discussed, so some gold in there. Access these live shows, share your questions and theories, and interact with us in real time by downloading the free Stereo app at stereo.com/newrockstars. That's stereo.com/newrockstars. All right, folks, back to WandaVision, and specifically what's next for Agatha Harkness. Because WandaVision ended with Wanda trapping Agatha in this kind of trance as nosy neighbor Agnes in Westview. It was almost kind of a cruel Twilight Zone, Black Mirror kind of fate for this character. Because even though the hex closes and it ends, Jack Schaefer confirmed in this interview that came out that no, Agatha's probably just still in this cycle, in this routine in Westview making cookies, while other people in Westview, New Jersey, their life goes on. They're probably like, look at that psycho who still thinks the play's going. So what I want to know from you guys is what's going to happen to Agatha next? So, where are we going to see her next? What is her role going to be in the MCU? Because I have to assume she's going to be coming back in some way.
Who wants to go? I got a bomb. So you guys go. Whoever wants to go first.
I can go first. Yeah, I think it's definitely a guarantee that she'll be back, and the question is how. And the easiest solution to bring her back I can think of would be if Doctor Strange, say in the next movie, needs some more input or needs some insider info. Maybe Doctor Strange, on his quest to figure out how to help Wanda or how to stop the Scarlet Witch, he realizes that he needs to go beyond what his connections are in the wizardry world, and is like, I do need to find a witch to help me out. I need a witch to fill me in, and that's where he discovers that Agatha exists and that he can access Agatha through hitting up Westview and finding her that way, and ends up unlocking her in order to have that conversation and bring her in the fold to help her stop Scarlet Witch maybe in the next movie. I think that's the easiest way to do it. I think there are probably a few other ways, right? Mordo could also be in it. Mordo could also be on a quest to cause havoc or cause chaos or take out all wizards or whatever his quest may be, and maybe he's the one that finds Agatha and unlocks her by casting a spell and bringing her into the fold. I can see either of those two being the case.
I like that. That's good.
I just wonder if like Agatha gets to keep the house with Ralph Boner, or like if she has to go find her own house now. Like she's just stuck in the town and she assumes she lives there. I still think there's something up with Dottie. I know we got like her name, her real name, but Dottie just seems very mysterious and secretly powerful. And I don't know. And where's the rabbit? What's the rabbit doing? Is the rabbit going to help get Agatha out of it? But I think, I said it earlier, I think we're maybe done seeing the evil side of Agatha, and she's more here to help. And especially if she's stuck in this prison of her own mind, is she having the nightmares that Wanda used to have, like all the other townspeople were? This could drive her insane. So it would be interesting to see how she comes out of this trance and what she's like afterwards.
That's I kind of think that, because Monica and Sword have made it in, they literally saw this woman like doing witch stuff in the sky. Like, this is not an ordinary person. I kind of think that even though she is now thinks that she's a different person, she's going to be taken in by Sword, and she's actually going to do. I kind of think that someone's going to start the Pleasant Hill program, which was like a story arc that happened like 4 years ago in the comics, where they maybe see that Agatha's actually maybe she's doing okay. Maybe she's like, oh, she's like living her life as this person. So it's like, what if we take some of these villains and like we brainwash them again, and make them think that they're other people, which leads to that storyline. But maybe her magic is the thing that like trickles out and like, gets everyone to realize that it's like not real. Kind of like what's going on here, but like more government, more like manipulative, Maria Hill is a big part of it. But I think that like, I don't think she's just going to walk away. I don't think that like, if I was like Monica or Jimmy and I saw this like witch fly in the sky, I'm like, dude, like we got to do something about this person.
We got to stop this person. The thing I like most about this theory is the idea that the Sword are just like, let's just brainwash the villains, and somebody driving down their street sees the milkman and the milkman turns around and it's Thanos. Somehow. I just love that idea. It's like, wait a second,
Daddy Thanos, like making food,
Thanos should have a restaurant in Westview.
Oh yeah, he spices his food.
Thanos' spices.
Did they get the broadcast of Agatha all along? Like, did they get to see that song and see that there's this magical witch in Westview? Did Darcy get to see that? Or anyone? Was anyone watching the broadcast at that point?
Oh, that is a good point, because at that point we didn't really see any new episodes after the episode 7, Modern Family era of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because weird. You do have a good point that Sword's not going to just like walk away from this town, or the FBI for that matter.
They did get through.
Yeah, this is the one woman that like didn't have a driver's license or anything. So I'm sure they're probably like, "Hey, what's going on, Agnes?" And she's just like, "Okie dokie," and they're like, "This lady is crazy."
This might also be a bit of a stretch, because the Fantastic Four are coming, and like for a little bit, Agatha was like the nanny for Franklin Richards, which is the Omega level mutant son of Susan and Reed. So that's a bit of a stretch, but maybe like Reed's like, we could use a babysitter, and
she's brainwashed. She's fine.
She seems to have powers that we could tap into whenever we want, because I'm Reed Richards and I make stuff happen, So maybe it's like, maybe she becomes their nanny. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of talk about a Jimmy Woo spinoff. Like, people want to see a Jimmy Woo Agents of S.W.O.R.D. kind of show. I'm totally down for that. I'm down to see just an Agatha mini-series of her, like, something that feels like Charmed a little bit, of her just like rebuilding her coven and just like showing her throughout history or now just like as a fish out of water trying to break out of this trance and just like rebuild witches and build a team of people and then deal with like the infighting, Desperate Housewives
Yeah.
style in that time, because that is Wisteria Lane, right? Isn't that Westview? Is that the same Wisteria Lane
Yeah.
set? Yeah. So
It
why
looks
not?
like
It's also Gilmore Girls, isn't it? Right?
Yeah,
Isn't
right.
it?
Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
It's all
crossover we've been waiting for.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, Brandon, like Dottie, her real name is Sarah Proctor, which was the name of a girl who was accused of witchcraft in Salem in real world history. So there might be a connection there. That might be something they're being. I mean, Emma Caulfield wasn't she part of Buffy back in the day? Yeah, she was in Buffy.
Was she the
Oh,
demon
there you go.
Oh.
girl?
She's Anya.
Yes, she was like a demon who
That's
was
odd.
dating.
Oh.
Yeah, now that you've said that, I realize that's her.
Okay, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not put two and two together. That's great.
The two of them, her and Catherine Hahn, could totally like head
Yeah.
a show. They'd be great.
I don't think we've seen the last of Westview for sure. Westview
totally-
seems
yeah.
like there's so much
Yeah.
going on with it.
I definitely think that Catherine Hahn is just she's like, in my opinion, one of the best memorable villains in the MCU. I kind
Yeah,
of think
she's
she's
up
gonna
there.
get the Loki treatment. Like she's gonna keep
Yeah.
reappearing. Like maybe we'll see a multiverse version of her. Who knows? But I think she's not gone. We're gonna see her a lot more than we think.
I hope so, because I think that's a good way to kind of build villains over time. One of my critiques with the MCU over the last, I guess, decade has been that a lot of times the villains just don't hit, and I think that's because there's always so much focus on the protagonists and building up the actual heroes themselves, which is awesome. But villains are usually one and done, and so even the times where we get an amazing villain like somebody like Killmonger, we're like, oh, this is awesome, but then he's gone after that movie, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, you know,
Yeah.
who can we latch on to? And I think Agatha would be a great one starting now to have us like latch on to in the way that we latched on to Loki. I think that could be really cool.
Well, again, a lot of great thoughts here, guys. Like, there's a lot of futures for Agatha, and I do want to see some version of all of it. But yeah, exactly. Seeing her as a Loki figure who's always just kind of a jerk, who's just serving themselves, but you love them still, and you can't wait to see what they do next. Absolutely. They need to keep her around because she's been so great, and this character's been such a delight. All right, points. Here we go. So, Blessed, I really like this idea of Doctor Strange enlisting Agatha as kind of like an ally in whatever this sorcerer war is going to be. So you get a point for that for sure.
Taking it. Thank you.
Matt, this idea of this whole Pleasant Hill project, and the fact that the government could use Agatha to try to lock villains or people in a kind of brainwash. I think that's a great idea. I'm giving you 2 points for that.
Whoa, thanks,
Ooh,
man.
Very nice.
Oh, wow. Yum, 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 yum.
Brandon, I love this question, at least that you asked, that honestly blew my mind because I didn't really think about it. Who the hell was watching Agatha all along? Because who was the audience of that? Everyone was kind of in their own world at that point. Was that just for us? And what does that say about Agatha and her powers? So I'm going to give you it was a simple thing, but I'm giving you 2 points for it because I think that's an amazing
I'll take it.
observation.
Yeah,
take
that's
it.
awesome.
So we are all tied up heading into rogue questions now, guys. So it all comes down to this. Actually, we have a couple rogue questions, so you have a chance to get ahead either way. All right, our first rogue question, because of a glitch on HBO Max the other day, a few lucky viewers got to watch at least the first hour of Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League early. The Snyder Cut briefly played when they tried to watch the new Tom and Jerry movie. So, my question for you to answer is, what is the strangest possible movie that the Snyder Cut could play during?
I think if you were like sitting down to watch, Little Women or something like that, and you got like the Snyder Cut, I think that would be a shocking surprise.
Yeah, you expect to get in to see Tracy Letts shoot down young Joe's manuscript, but instead you see lots of abs.
Mine also is a little sexual, I guess, with abs and stuff. I don't know. I've actually, but like maybe you're watching the hit classic Ghost, right?
Mm.
And they're doing the pottery scene, and it's like, oh, something's happening here. And then it like flashes to like, Cyborg and Superman in his black suit that everyone's freaking out about and stuff like that. That would be jarring because I don't think someone who's watching Ghost would really want to watch that. You know what I mean?
For me, I can imagine sitting down after a long day of work, gathering the wife and kids and being like, all right, guys, let's all relax. Let's put on this new movie that just came out, Scoob. Let's watch Scoob.
Scoob.
Click play, and all of a sudden, Superman says a bad word. I don't know how the Snyder Cut's gonna open. That's how I imagine it. I imagine Superman says a really bad word. The Joker comes through, talks about how life's a society, all this fun stuff. And yeah, no, you just wanted to watch Scoob.
Raggy, Ratman grills people.
Do you think if people sat down to watch the Snyder Cut of Justice League and Tom and Jerry started, people would give it maybe like 20 minutes and thinking like, wow, Snyder was really on one for this. This is crazy.
I understand why this got cut. This is really weird.
They should have
It's
cut
a
this
weird
out.
take on this.
Like, how long do you go before you're like, this isn't it?
See, what they need is when you're watching Shrek and then Alleluia plays when he's crying because Fiona and him are fighting, and then that just trigger jumps to Leonard Cohen's Alleluia playing over the opening titles of Snyder Cut.
That would work.
Right?
That would work.
I do like the idea of like you're watching Tom and Jerry, you just let it keep rolling because you're like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is just a weird intro, because that's the exact thought I had toward the beginning of Wonder Woman 1984, where I was like, oh, this might be the wrong thing, but I'm just gonna let it keep playing just in case. It turned out that was the movie. The movie was just that bad.
Yeah, they wanted the feeling of when you go to the movie theater and you don't look at the number of the theater you're walking into, and you're like, this feels weird. The audience seems like children for this R-rated movie. That's weird.
Yeah, and you're like certainly the whip physics for Wonder Woman wouldn't be this bad. This has to be a different movie, and then Wonder Woman shows up, and you're like, oh, nope, this is the right thing. I didn't like that movie.
Oh, what? Hold on.
Whoa.
Brandon, I'm giving you the point for the Tom and Jerry idea, watching Tom and Jerry, and that's just the Snyder Cut beginning. All right, we have one more question here. Photos from the set of Thor, Love, and Thunder show Natalie Portman as Jane Foster looking pretty jacked. So what workout tip did Chris Hemsworth share with his co-star Natalie Portman to help her pack on that muscle?
I'm going to go
for
with
it.
100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, a 10-kilometer run. Basically the workout from One Punch Man. I don't know if you guys have seen One Punch Man, but there's a workout routine they do in that anime, and I think it's the exact same routine. It's basically a very similar workout routine.
I think maybe Chris Hemsworth like reached into his Australian roots. And I remember seeing a documentary called Crocodile Dundee, where a man wrestles an alligator, or a crocodile, I guess. He's wrestling a crocodile, so maybe that's the advice he gave to Natalie Portman: you got to wrestle a crocodile, and you better come out on top.
I think he was just like, they're having a real nice cup of coffee or something, talking about it. He's just like, you just do it. He's like, you're just thinking, and then you just do it. You know?
Wait, you mean you don't wake up like this?
Yeah,
I was born this way, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a really high metabolism. I don't know. I'm Chris Hemsworth.
Look, it happened. And he's like, same thing worked for Chris Pratt, you know, in Guardians. He just did it. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe
And
he
Natalie
donated
Portman's
some,
like, yeah, that's how have I not thought of this ahead of time? It totally
it's
worked.
that Hemsworth DNA. It's in the family. Maybe he just shared, a little, some DNA cells with her.
Like a hair strand, you know, in My Hero Academia, you know?
Take this back to the lab. Have your people work on it. Like, my people?
Well, I'm going to give the point to Matt for that idea of just do it. Just keep it simple. Because I feel like that is all you got to do. I mean, it works for Nike, right? So it's got to be something to it. I think that makes it a tie between Matt and Brandon, and they cancel each other out, making Blessing the winner. Yay!
Yes. My strategy works.
That makes mathematical sense. I like that.
When you get
I
the
like
tie,
that.
you
That's-
lose.
yeah, that's
You're
math.
canceled out. We're on sides of an equation. Both are canceled out. So congratulations to all of you guys. This was such a great episode. I feel like we covered a lot of ground. Everyone listening to this podcast is now smarter going ahead. And you can be the smartest one in your friends group if you just steal something one of these three said and just parrot it out. And now people will be like, wow, you came up with that? And be like, yeah. And someone else in that group will be like, he watches new Rockstars, a son of a bitch, but he's non-confrontational, so he won't say anything, so you're good. Because that's what happens at AV Club / LARPing parties. People don't really have arguments with each other.
No confrontation.
None at all. That is it for this episode of Rogue Theory. I want to thank our guests, Matt Acevedo, Blessing Adeoye, and Brandon Barrick. You guys were great.
Woo. Thanks so much for having us, man. It was a blast.
Yeah.
So I want to let everyone know you can support our channel by checking out one of our many great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. You can follow me at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars, subscribe here on YouTube, and a reminder to download that stereo app, going to our stereo.com/newrockstars, and you can listen to our new live shows that we've been launching, including an Inside Marvel with myself, and it's now going to be MT talking about Falcon Winter Soldier. I'm so excited, and you can download that app for free on Apple and Android to create an avatar and profile. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next time. Bye, Wizards.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Bye.
Just do it.